G'day guys, and welcome back today to another video. Today's video guys, I've been really excited for a very long time guys. That's right, today I'm going to be revealing to you guys the brand new OCAM 4x4 roof rails that I've purchased for the Pajero. So this video is going to be really useful for those Pajero owners out there wondering, is there any suitable replacement for the stock standard plastic rails that come with the vehicle? These stock standard plastic rails really limit what you can do on the roof. They're really flimsy, they don't handle the weight very well. Anyway, today I'm going to answer that question and be showing you guys the brand new OCAM 4x4 rails that I fitted on the Pajero. So you guys may be wondering, why would you do something like this on your Pajero? So as you guys know, Pajeros come with stock standard plastic roof rails that go over them. They don't handle weight very well, like I just said before, and for me, going forward with my setup that I'll get to in a minute, I'll explain what I'm doing once we get up on the roof and have a look. I need to disperse weight very well over the roof and be confident that my rails are going to handle a good constant load. So those Pajero owners out there who are potentially looking at putting things on there like rooftop tents, that's what I'm doing, or having a constant heavy load on the roof, this is something that you may want to look at just so you know and have confidence that your rails are going to support whatever you're going to put on top of them. Anyway, let's jump up and I'll get into how this was installed, and I'll show you guys what I've actually done here too. Alright guys, so now that we're up here, I'll talk to you a little bit about what it took to install this piece of gear. But like I said before, this is not an installation guide. I'll only be briefly running over what it took, how much time it took me, and adding in a couple of notes that OCAM don't quite mention in their videos. So it was fairly a simple process to install, however it took me a little bit of time. I did do it by myself, and the only fiddly bit with it was right here in the middle. I'll get to that in a second. So in order to take these stock rails off, there's a process. It's fairly simple. Like I said, link in the description for the OCAM video will show you how to do that. But once you've got that off, the new OCAM system goes straight into the pre-existing bolt holes up here on the roof. So these three mounting points, obviously front and rear and middle, are all the pre-existing holes that the old rails came off to. Front and rear are very simple. They don't require any underneath access. They just go straight in on top. The only fiddly one is this one right here in the middle. Now, what is annoying about this is that this bolt right here is in a little bit of a sticky spot. It's underneath up in the roof. So in order to access that bolt, you need to go inside, you need to take off the handle, pull the rubber seal out, drop the hood lining, and if you're like me, and this is something that OCAM don't mention in the video, if you have rear air conditioning, you also have to undo the rear air conditioning duct and move it out of the way. They recommend dropping the whole roof lining if you've got rear air conditioning, but I didn't have time to do that. I simply just unscrewed the screw that was holding it in, and that did reveal the bolt. It was a little bit fiddly and there are a few awkward angles in there, but once you get it with the socket, you better hope you don't lose it, because then it can be a little bit annoying to get it again. And then once that part comes out, the whole thing will pop off and the new one will pop on. The new OCAM 4x4 bolts, they do not have socket heads, they have Allen key heads. So instead of using a socket to put the bolt back in, you'll need to use an Allen key. Even more fiddly. So that is the most time consuming part out of it all, but once you get that, everything else is fairly easy. But my only advice is make sure you get that middle bolt as tight as you possibly can, because out of all of the bolts that are that you'd end up wanting to fix, the middle one is the one that you want to end up fixing the least. These two here on the end, like I said, they only require top access, no underneath access. This other one over here, you have to pull all sorts out to get to. So once you get them on, there's 4 points along this rail here, and traditionally they would mount a platform rack. So you can buy this in a package. OCAM 4x4 do a platform rack. I chose to make my own crossbars due to what I'm going to do up here. So you don't have to do it the way that I have. It's just the way that I've chosen to do it. So now on that note, let me talk about what is actually happening up here. So like I mentioned before, I will be interested in putting a rooftop tent up here. I have actually got the rooftop tent, it's ready to go on. However, I was just waiting on this. So these were on back order for a little while, and I have to say I'm really pleased once it's all gotten up on here. It was definitely worth the wait at the present. So up on here is going to go a Drifter Wildland rooftop tent. Now there's a few reasons on why I went with that particular rooftop tent. I'll just go over the main ones quickly. So mainly is its weight, only 57 kilograms I believe, which is light compared to some other units. Its access, it's got side access on this side here. So this is a 270-degree awning right here, so this swings right around. If I had have gotten the triangle ones that open up, their main point of access is from the back here. I know you can access them from the side, however, you know, no, I'm not short, I'm fairly tall, things like that would be very awkward. The Wildlands access from the side is the main point of access, and they're a nice big square box. That's what I like about them up here on the roof. There's no restriction with like some of the other ones, so that's why I chose that one. Now the coolest thing about this here is, so thinking out loud theoretically, the way that I have this awning mounted, so this is a fairly large awning right here, and these are holding the weight fairly well. Previously I just had some standard crossbars on, and I had a roof basket on, and now the way that these were mounted, the awning brackets traditionally would sit on top of the crossbars, meaning that when I put the rooftop tent on, I'd have to level it that 1 or 2 millimeters up on the other side so it sits level. With this particular system, I don't have to do that, because on this side here, on these little mounting points here, like I said, they would traditionally have a platform rack. There's 2 grooves, so on one side, this piece of metal, it's just metal, it's just from Bunnings, goes perfectly on one side, so I still have the other side available for mounting something else, which I've chosen on 2 of the points here to be the awning, so I don't have to do any leveling. That sits lower than the crossbar, so the rooftop tent will just go flush on there, and there's plenty of room for it to open up on this side here. We've got it about that far off the edge, and like I said, seems to be holding the weight really well. What you'll notice about the stock standard rails on the Pajeros, guys, is that where they traditionally mount into these points, it's like a clip and then a joint of some sort and then the rail. So it's like a two-piece unit in between the mounting head and the actual rail, which is where the weakness comes in and where they break. Here, this is one solid piece, and it's not made out of plastic, it's made out of steel. Now that is the biggest attraction for me, and that gives me confidence that my setup here is going to be able to handle weight adequately. So once you make a join between, like, let's use this crossbar as an example, once you've got those in there and you shake it on without anything on it, if you shook this with none of these crossbars on it, it would have a little bit of give in it. However, as soon as you make a join between these 2 here, so I've joined them 2 with all the bolts here, there's no give at all. As you can see, there's absolutely nothing. It doesn't budge at all. It's very, very tight, which gives me great confidence that this is going to be able to hold the weight really well and nothing is going to come undone. Of course, that is my only big concern. Because this was not done in a shop, this was done by me, my only concern is maybe a couple of these bolts are not done up quite as tight as they would be maybe at a shop like ARB. So obviously after the first few trips, this is an untested setup at the moment, but after a few trips I'll be revising all the work that I've done up here, making sure that it is sufficient to handle what I want to do. So you guys know that I do go to some remote places, I do some kind of serious forward driving, especially for a setup like this. This is a really leaning towards the touring side of setup. This is not a setup that you traditionally take like hardcore forward driving. So I do some pretty serious stuff sometimes. So it'll be good to see how all of this handles on all those awkward angles and stuff like that. And I guess that's where products get tested well. So at the time of filming this video, guys, you would have been watching Next Level Adventures for a little while now. However, by the time this video releases, the backlog would have only just finished. This will be one of the first videos that I've actually filmed since becoming Next Level Adventures rather than Vikings 4x4 an adventure. As you can see, the stickers, all the old decals are still on the car. That's how big the backlog is at the moment. And so you should be watching this around mid-November. You know, and at the moment when I'm filming this, it's still September. So we're still in the process of getting all of our trucks ready now. If you guys watched the virtual By the Fire that I did with Jake and Lockie, both of the boys are still in the process of getting their trucks ready for the big December trip coming up. So this is a main part of that project. So of course, I'm the one that goes out more frequently out of everybody else. So this truck has a tighter deadline than the other boys' trucks. So this truck I really want to get done as soon as possible, whereas they're aiming for that December deadline. So this is a part of the Pajero build series right now. You guys will get a full update on the touring setup that is going to be in this truck, because it is completely different to stage one. If you guys have watched stage one of the Pajero build series, this is a completely different truck now. There is almost nothing that is the same, which is interesting in its own right. So make sure you guys go check that out. You can actually see what this car used to look like stock standard. Now, like I said, completely different truck in the making. So if you guys have any questions, guys, this is the main kind of point of this video actually, is to let you guys know what I'm doing, reveal it, and then let you guys ask the questions. Ask down in the comment section below. Send me a message on Instagram. I'll pop that up on the screen right now, and you guys can ask away any questions that you have. All those Pajero owners out there wondering, you know, anything that you want to know, drop it down below. Of course, it'll be better for those of you guys watching in the future as well, because this will have the rooftop tent on it soon. And if you're watching this maybe a year into the future, you'll be able to ask what it is like. You'll probably also be able to see an update video on the channel further down the track, as I do periodic reviews of all of my gear. So that's all we have for this one right now, guys. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button. Subscribe to Next Level Adventures, where you guys can see all of the awesome trips that we do, gear updates, everything like that, guys, will all be on Next Level Adventures. There's no other channel to find us on. Anyway, guys, make sure you're also following us on Instagram to get regular updates and daily posts for full drive inspiration and travel inspiration, guys, as well as to message us any questions to get the most direct response. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below, but most importantly, leave any of your questions down in the comment section below, and I will get back to them as soon as possible, guys. Anyway, as always, thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next adventure.